Hi friends, welcome to our today's session on object store in Mule 4 part 2. So guys, as you know, in previous part we have discussed these following points. Okay, what is object store use cases, components, limitations, default object store, custom object store, common reasons to use object store, and list of different operations we usually use in object store. Okay guys, so guys, in this part 2 on object store, we are going to perform all these operations in the Anypoint Studio and also see how we can configure the object store, how we can configure the custom object store, and what and all parameters are involved while configuring it, and what are the use of those parameters. Okay, so guys, before proceeding, so these configurations are totally based on the Mule runtime standalone server, okay, which is basically running on the on premises. So these settings will be applied there. So that's the reason I'll be performing these operations in my local Anypoint Studio. Okay, so don't confuse it with the object store v2. So object store v2 service we will cover in the next video on Cloud Hub and see how the same type of settings will work there. So in this part I'm going to show the object store configuration settings, how they work using different type of use cases in the Anypoint Studio in my local. Okay, so guys, without wasting time, let's move to the next slide. So guys, these were the different operations we saw in the previous part. Okay, so clear, contain, remove, so all operations we're going to perform in the Anypoint Studio. Okay, moving on to the next slide. So guys, these are the list of configuration settings. Okay, fields, what are the use of these fields while configuring the object store. Okay, so the first field, guys, you can see is the persistent. Okay, so let me go to the Anypoint Studio and show you how this looks like. So guys, I'm in Anypoint Studio, and if I click on this edit button, you can see the list of options, a list of fields which we can configure. So in this you can see a field called as persistent, because this field basically determines, okay, whether the keys will be there in your object store even after Mule crash or not. Okay, so you can see the list of fields: max entries, TTL, persistent, entry TTL unit, and expiration interval, configuration reference interval unit. So we will see these fields okay, in that slide and show you how these work. Okay, so let's go to the slide and see. So guys, you can see the first field which is persistent. Okay, and the type is boolean, and the description is whether the store is persistent or transient. So guys, what does this field means is that whatever key values you have stored in your object store, let's say because of some Mule crash happened, and let's say you restarted your application again. So if you have selected your object store as persistent, so those keys will be there in the object store. Those keys will not lost. Okay, but if you have selected your object store as a transient, then after Mule crash everything will be lost. Those key values will not be there. Okay, so that's the difference between a persistent and transient. So if persistent, then it will continue from wherever it has left after a Mule crash. Okay, but in case of transient, it will lost everything after a crash and after Mule application restarted. So that's the meaning of this field, persistent. So guys, moving on to the next field, which is max entries. So max entries, you can see the description. So the type is number, and its description is the maximum number of entries allowed. Exceeding entries are removed when the expiration thread runs. If absent, then the desired object store has no size boundaries. Okay, so guys, max entries basically determines how many number of key value pairs you want to store in your object store in a simple way. Okay, so that's the meaning of this max entries. Moving on to the next field, entry TTL. So the type is number. Okay, so time to live, basically TTL form is time to live. Okay, so if you have specified some TTL, okay, let's say you have specified TTL as 20 seconds. Okay, then it means your key value pairs will not be there after 20 seconds, provided you didn't specify any expiration interval. Okay, let me show you. Okay, so if you have specified it as 1 minute, okay, for 1 minute those key value pairs will be there in the object store. After that it will expire, it will not be there. Okay, entry TTL unit you can specify as seconds, minutes, that's your choice based on whatever use case you have. Okay, moving on to the next is expiration interval. So the type is number. So this field is very important, guys. Okay, so what is written here? How frequently expiration thread should run. The default value is 1 minute. So expiration interval field requires that the maximum entries or entry TTL field also to be set. So guys, you need to set max entries and entry TTL value. Okay, if you do not set these fields, then even if you have specified some expiration interval, it will be having no effect. Okay, so it is written if neither is set, if neither max entries or entry TTL is set, then putting the value in expiration interval has no effect. Okay, and the expiration thread does not run. Okay, and if the expiration interval value is set to lower than or equal to 0, then the object store will never expire. Okay, so basically what this expiration interval does is, so let's say if you have specified an expiration interval as 1 minute and your TTL is 20 seconds, let's say. So this expiration interval will check after 1 minute whether the TTL time has been expired or not. But because TTL time is 20 seconds, so for 1 minute those key value pairs will be there in the object store even though the TTL has been expired. But because this expiration interval, this expiration thread has checked after 1 minute, so after 1 minute it will delete those key value pairs from the object store. Okay, so it's always a best practice to specify expiration interval less than TTL. Okay, so if expiration interval exceeds the TTL, then it will override the TTL value basically. Okay, let's say if you have TTL of 10 seconds but expiration interval is 1 minute, so after 1 minute that expiration thread will check whether the TTL has been expired or not, and it will delete those key value pairs based on that. So but the TTL is 10 second. Okay, so but it is deleting after 1 minute, which doesn't make any sense. Okay, so it would be always best practice to set expiration interval less than TTL. Okay, so that it will delete whatever key value pair based on whatever TTL we have specified in a correct way. Okay guys, so similarly we have this expiration interval unit. You can set whatever time you want to. You can discuss with your architect or whatever use case you have. Based on that you can set it. Okay, or if you don't want to set it, that is also fine. Then in that case, but object store will never expire. Okay, because that expiration thread will not check that the TTL has been exceeded or not. Okay, so that's the thing. And guys, this configuration reference, okay, so you can see the description. A reference to an object store config element is used to declare the object store. Okay, if not provided, Mule runtime default object store is used. Okay, setting this parameter necessary only if you want to use a non-default object store implementation. For example, if you have object store that is backed by Radix or JDBC. Okay guys, so if you have a custom object store configurations, okay, so in that case we usually specify this object store config element in the object store configurations. So I hope you understood all these configuration settings. Okay, so let's move on to the Anypoint Studio and let's perform the real-time use cases so that you will get the more clarity on these configuration settings. So guys, without wasting time, let's go there and understand it. So guys, we are in Anypoint Studio now. So you can see these are the list of use cases which I have configured. So this flow is showing the default object store configuration. So we haven't specified any object store configuration here. So this object store, okay, this store component will be considered as a default object store. So if you specify key and value, it will store it. Okay, but because it's not a custom object store, so those key value pairs will not be lost. Okay, and by default it will be a persistent object store. Okay, because it's a default object store, as I showed you in the previous part 1. Okay, what is default object store basically? So guys, you can store the default object store like this, but the only disadvantage is that default object store doesn't gives you more control on whatever key value pairs you are storing. Okay, so it is always, I think, preferable to use a custom object store like this. So in this case we have a custom object store configurations configured. So if I click on this edit, you can see max entries I have allowed at 4 allows as 4. I have marked it as a persistent, so if any mule crash will happen, those key value pairs will not be lost. It will be continue after a restart. We will again get those key value pairs after a restart. Okay, we can set TTL after how much time we want these key value pairs to be removed from the object store. Unit we can specify, expiration interval we can specify. Okay, that after every 1 minute we want to check with the key value pairs with the TTL whether the TTL has been expired or not. Okay, based on that it will delete those key value pairs. Okay, so we have a more control basically as compared to the default object store. Okay, so guys, I'm going to deploy this application, and one by one I will show you each and every operation we have in object store. Okay, so these are the list of operations we have: clear, contains, remove, retrieve, revolve, key, store. So I hope from the name only you understood everything, that for if you want to remove the key value pairs you can use remove. Okay, so it will pick a specified, you need to give a key name, which key you want to remove. Okay, retrieve, which key you want to retrieve all keys it will retrieve. Okay, so we will see that these are difference between these two. Okay, and store you already know, for storing the key value pairs. Okay, clear to clear, contains I will show you. Okay, so if the key is present or not, it will check that simply. Okay, so that's how these different operations we have. So I will perform one by one. So I'm going to store one key first. Okay, let me deploy my app. Okay, so the application has been deployed, and I also have one scheduler flow. Okay, where I'm retrieving all the keys which are stored in the object store. After every 10 seconds this flow will get triggered, and it will log whatever keys we have in the object store. So parallelly we will also get to know that what and all keys are stored in the object store. Okay, so that's the reason I have created this scheduler flow, guys. Okay, so I'm going to store one key first, and we will see the logs whether the key has been stored in the object store or not. Okay, and because we have a expiration interval as 1 minute, so after every 1 minute that expiration thread will check whether the TTL has been expired or not. Okay, so based on that it will delete those key value pairs. So guys, we will see this now. Okay, so it is always preferable to use the expiration interval less than that of TTL, but I'm just showing you for your understanding how it will work. Okay, so if I set it to be less than this TTL, we will not get to know how this expiration interval is working. Okay, here in the Anypoint Studio. So just to make you familiar with this concept, how these two things are related, I have increased the expiration interval as 1 minute. Okay, greater than TTL, just to show you. Okay, I will click on OK. Okay, now I will trigger my first endpoint, which is UC1. I'm going to store these two key values, key 1 and value 1, in the object store. So guys, if I trigger it, Okay, we got that our flow gets triggered. Okay, and the key values are stored. So guys, now you can see uh, that scheduler flow will log that key 1. So you can see. So after 1 minute, this key value will get deleted because expiration interval is 1 minute and TTL is 20 seconds. So after 1 minute, that expiration interval, that expiration thread will check whether the TTL has been expired or not. So if the TTL has been expired, then after 1 minute it will delete it. It will delete those key value pairs. Okay. So guys, 4 times this key has been printed. Okay, it means that it has exceeded the TTL. Okay, because we have specified a TTL as 20 seconds, but it is logging again and again after every 10 seconds, and it has logged it 5 times. Okay, it means 50 seconds. If from 50 seconds it is logging it again and again, it means TTL has still the TTL, we have specified TTL as 20 seconds, but still it is logging these keys again and again. Guys, why? Because our expiration interval is 1 minute, not 20 seconds. So after 1 minute, expiration interval has checked whether that TTL has been exceeded or not. So after 1 minute, when that expiration interval checked, then at that moment TTL was expired already because TTL was 20 seconds. So after 1 minute, that expiration interval deleted those key value pairs. Okay, so that's why we have got this key printed 6 times, 60 seconds I would say, which is 1 minute. So after 1 minute, those keys will get deleted because expiration interval was 1 minute, guys. Okay, so that's how this expiration interval, TTL and max entries are related to each other, guys. Okay, so I hope you understood how the expiration interval will look, okay, at the TTL and max entries. Okay guys, so now I think you understood this about this expiration interval and TTL. Now I'm going to show about all these operations, how these different operations will work. Okay, what is the use of these different operations. So I'm going to again store those key value pairs. I will click and resume it. Okay, now I'm going to retrieve. So I've specified payload.key. So whatever key I will pass, it will retrieve that key basically. Okay, so now I will pass the key as 1 because we have stored key 1 and value 1. Okay, and the endpoint name is UCT, or we can use this endpoint UC2. Okay, same thing, payload.key. So if I click on send, guys, so we have reached here. So it's saying OS key not found because it has just expired. You can see it has just expired. So let me increase the TTL so that it will not expire suddenly, and I can show you all these different operations. Okay, so guys, let me stop this application and again deploy. Let me configure it. So I will increase the TTL to 20 minutes, I would say. And I will again deploy it. Okay, so our application has been deployed. So let me store those key value pairs again. I will click send. Okay, store operation done. Okay, successful. Now we will retrieve these key values using the retrieve operation. So store operation is done. Okay, now we will use this retrieve operation to retrieve that particular key, which is key 1. Okay, so we will use this endpoint and specify key as key 1 and value as value 1. So we will use this key to fetch that key value pair which we have stored, okay, previously. So I will click on send. Okay, we have reached here. Flow has been triggered. So if I click next, we got that key value pair, guys. Okay, So we have got that value which was stored in that particular key. The key is key 1. Okay, so that's how this retrieve operation works, guys. Okay, now we will see this retrieve all. So it will retrieve all the keys, what and all keys are stored in the object store. So I'm going to store one more key. Okay, I'm going to store one more key, which is key 2, and the value is value 2. Okay, I will click send. Store operation done. Okay, now I will retrieve all the keys, which is a third use case. Okay, so I'm going to click send. Okay, it will retrieve all the keys. Okay, we got all the keys in the form of key value pairs. So if I resume next, okay, so we have got these two keys, key value pairs. Initial one was key 1 value 1 and the second one is key 2 value 2, guys. So that's how this retrieve all operation works. Okay, now we will see retrieve all keys. I think these two are almost similar. I can't see any difference between them. Okay, let's try this one. So this time the use case is UC4. Okay, we will give it as UC4 and click send. So only keys it will retrieve, guys. That's the only difference between retrieve all and retrieve all keys. Okay, in case of retrieve all, it will retrieve all key value pairs, but in case of retrieve all keys, it will only retrieve keys, not values. So that's the only difference between two of them. So guys, I will resume it. So we got all the keys, all keys. So guys, that's how this retrieve all keys works. Now we will see contains. So this component basically checks whether this particular key is available in the object store or not. Okay, so we need to provide a particular key to check whether that particular key is available in the object store or not. So guys, this is the use case number 5. Okay, so I will trigger it, and because key 3 and value 3 is not there, so let's see. Okay, so it has thrown false, so it should throw that false, that key is not available. Okay, that key is not available. So let's see how it works. Okay, so it should throw false because the key 3 and value 3 is not there. So I will click next. So guys, you can see we got false as a boolean, that hey, that key value is not there. Okay, and we have simply resumed it. But if we give key as a 2, okay, let's see, because this key value is available, so let's see what it throws. So it will give us true. Okay, because that key value is available. So guys, that's how this contain works. I hope you understood. Okay, so guys, now this one is clear. So if you want to clear all the key value pairs stored, we use this component. So we'll specify the object store configuration, save it, let it deploy again. I think I need to stop and deploy it again. Okay, let it deploy. So our application has been deployed, guys. So this time this use case is UC6, and we are going to clear all the keys stored in the object store. Okay, so let's do that. So use case is UC6. Okay, so it will clear all the keys, it will delete basically. Okay, so all keys are deleted. Okay, now if I try to retrieve all the keys, okay, using retrieve all keys, so we will not get any key because everything is cleared. So this time the use case is 4. I will trigger this. Okay, click on send. So we will not get any key value pairs. You can see 0 because everything is cleared from the object store using previous clear operation. So guys, that's how this clear operation works. So now we will see this remove operation. So guys, this operation will remove a specified key, specific key. Based on whatever key you will specify, it will delete that key value pair from the object store basically. Okay, so because I didn't have any key value presently because I have cleared all the key values, so I need to store it first. I need to store some key values first. So I will store this key2 and value2 first. Okay, I will click on UC1, store it. Okay, store. We have stored that key value. Now we will remove it. Okay, but before removing, we will retrieve whether that key has been stored in the object store or not. So for a retrieve, I will use retrieve all keys, which is use case number 4. So I will trigger this and see the key, these key values are stored or not. Click send. So guys, we got those key values, keys. Okay, so the key2 has stored successfully. So now I will do the remove operation based on whatever key we will provide in the input. So in the input we will provide key2 and see that key has been deleted or not. Okay, so the operation is UC7. So I will give a UC7 and trigger this flow. Okay guys, so it will remove that specified key. So it has removed successfully. I will resume and I will try to retrieve now the all keys and see the keys are available or not. Okay, I will trigger this flow, use case number 4, which is retrieve all keys. So this time I should get 0 key values because it has deleted previously. So guys, it is 0 now. You can see because that key value has deleted previously using remove operation. So guys, I hope you understood everything and each and every operation, what and all configurations we used to do while configuring the custom object store. Okay, so there is a very important note that always try to, it's a best practice to configure expiration interval less than TTL. Okay, so always configure expiration interval less than TTL. Okay, what value you want to configure, what will be the unit, you can discuss with your architect based on whatever use case you have. Okay, what kind of scenarios you have, but always a best practice to configure expiration interval less than TTL, guys. Okay, so guys, in next part we will cover object store v2 service, and we are going to deploy this same, we are going to perform these same operations in the cloud hub and see how object store v2 has an impact on all these settings which we did here, how these settings will differ there. Okay, how these settings will look like in the cloud hub object store v2. Okay, and we will also understand what is object store v2, what is rolling TTL, what is static TTL. So all those things we will cover in the next part, guys. So guys, I hope you understood everything on this session what we have learned. So thanks everyone, guys. See you soon. Bye.